In this exercise, we will look at what happens when we issue bonds at a discount and we need to amortize the discount over the life of the bonds. We will be using the straight line method. So here we have Universal Foods that has issued 10% bonds dated January 1 with a face amount of $150 million on January 1, 2024. The bonds will mature in 15 years. Interest rate, market interest rate for similar issues is 12%. We are offering 10, market is offering 12, which means I'm going to be selling it at a discount. Interest is payable semi-annually on June 30th and December 31st. Again, the company is using the straight line method. So our first job is to calculate the bond issue price. So for that, I need to calculate the present value of two numbers. The first one being the bond face value itself, which is $150 million. I will look up the present value table for table 2 for a single sum. On this $150 million, I will pay interest at the rate of 10%, but semi-annually. So 10 divided by 2 is 5%. I will pay a total of 30 times. This is 15 years. 2 payments a year makes it 30 payments. So I will be looking up the present value for n equals 30. That's 30 payments. And market interest rate adjusted down to 6%. However, on this $150 million, I will pay interest at 10%. But again, since it's 2 times here, divide that by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5%. $150 million multiplied by 5% gives me $7.5 million a year. That's the interest payment. So both of these are cash outflows that are going to take place. I need to calculate the present value of these cash outflows. Look up table 2 and table 4 for the relevant time value of money factors, and then calculate the extension. Add up the two numbers, and you should get a number that is below the $150 million. We anticipated that we're going to issue it at a discount, and this is the number. That's the bond issue price. So let me write this information up over here. My bond interest rate is 10%, face value is $150 million, market interest rate is 12%, bond issue price I just calculated is $129,352,725. That's a mouthful there. The difference between face value and the bond issue price is your bond discount. So it's simply 150 minus this number. Now that we have these three numbers, again, let me just highlight the three numbers we're talking about over here. We have the three numbers of, well, I always had the 150 million. I calculated the bond issue price. Therefore, I know the discount. Now I'm ready to do my journal entry. On the date of issue, the journal entry is cash debit. And then I have bond discount debit and bond payable credit. All three numbers are up over here. I will place them in the debit and credit columns respectively. Cash debit, bond discount debit, bond payable credit. Now that I have this in place, I'm ready to do my journal entries for interest payments. So the first one is on June 30th, 2024. I will debit bond interest expense. I will credit bond discount, and I will credit cash. I know how much cash I'm going to pay. Again, if you look over here, I knew how much cash I was going to pay. This amount of 7.5 million, I'll pay it every 6 months over the life of the bonds. Now, how much I'm going to amortize the discount, bond discount? That's a really easy calculation, the straight line method. So for the straight line method, the amortization, it is the total bond discount divided by total number of interest payments. The total bond discount, I know that number, what it is. It's basically the 150 million minus how much I received. That's a discount. Divide by 30. And I do that calculation only once, the amortization. So if you were to put that in a table, my amortization is set. I know exactly what it is. Well, I know how much cash I'm paying each time. I'm paying 7.5 million. I know the starting book value. The difference between cash paid and the amortization is interest expense. So those numbers are not going to change It's going to stay the same. The book value keeps going up because you're decreasing the bond discount. Now, bond discount, once I know the amortization, sorry, on the credit side, bond discount is debit, therefore I credit it to amortize it. The balancing figure is the bond interest expense. Now, in our exercise, they asked us to first calculate the bond issue price. We did that. The journal entry at the time of issue. And they asked us to do the journal entry to record interest on June 30th, 2024. We did that. And then they just threw out another number, date out there, December 31st, 2031. It doesn't matter when they ask us for it. Those numbers are going to look identical. Nothing is going to change. These numbers are going to stay the same. This journal entry is going to repeat 30 times until we have fully amortized the bond discount. So that's a great thing about the straight line method. Once you do the calculations, it stays the same for the life of the bonds. In the real world, no one uses the straight line method, unfortunately. US GAAP tells us we have to use the effective interest rate method. However, the US GAAP says if there isn't a material difference in the interest expense between the straight line method and the effective interest rate method, we are allowed to use the straight line method. So there are some cases when you could use the straight line method. You do need to know that for the purposes of this class and for the CPA exam. Therefore, make sure you review this exercise.